Hey everybody, it's Peter from Brantford Kia, and here we go. This is the video that I have wanted to make for a long time. This is the video I've been most excited to make for a long time. So here we go. We're gonna jump into this. If you're not watching us live, let me just tell you what's going on right now. We're talking about, as you know by the title, is it cheaper to get an EV or a gasoline vehicle? Now, I am on the record as saying it's still cheaper to get a gasoline vehicle over a electric vehicle. However, I bought an EV. So who am I? What am I? We'll talk about that in a second. And I want this to be true. I want the EVs to be cheaper. But we've got a whole bunch of stuff, including a newspaper article with good data that we're going to go over. We're going to evaluate, and I'm going to tell you what's missing from that article, and then you can make a decision all by yourself. So if you're not watching us live, every day, it's Wednesday today, I don't know why I said Tuesday. Every day at 2 o'clock, we come in our live video bay here, and every weekday we look at the Kia product and we talk about things. So we try to stay current with our live videos. And if you want to join us, very simply, you're probably already on our YouTube page. Just search for Brantford Kia on YouTube at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern time. And if you refresh the page, sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. So bear with me. Refresh the page like that. You will get to our YouTube page, and it didn't work. So what we're going to do is go to the videos section at 2 o'clock, which is right here. You can see my cursor right there moving. Click that videos section, and there, right here, is our live video. So you can see the little live now button. We're going to click that right there, and we are live. Now, what I'm doing here today is I'm taking your comments. We usually stick around for a half an hour. This one may go long, and if it does, that's fine. I want to be comprehensive. I want to be complete. And I also want to tell you about why we're doing this video. So let me just jump in here and show you the cars we have here for a second. And I want you to stay with me today because there's a lot of information, and I think it's good information. So what have I got in the showroom today? I've got Harley Davidson, which is apparently being stored here for free for some of our people. That has nothing to do with the video. Ignore that. We've got a gasoline Kia Soul right here. We've got an electric Kia Soul right there. Could be a Kia Niro. I chose a Kia Soul. And we've got a Kia Seltos right there. So 2 gasoline vehicles, an electric vehicle. Why are we doing this video today? Well, here's the thing. I went on the internet last night, as I often do, and I researched cars, as I often do, because I have no life. And this article came up. It's in the Toronto Star, launched yesterday, June 23rd. So it's 24th today, so I read it yesterday. It's written by Stephanie Wallcraft. You can see the title there. So you think electric vehicles cost more. A 10-year comparison shows they're actually cheaper. So here's what I did. I reached out to Stephanie Wallcraft, and I said, hey, do you want to participate in our video today? And she couldn't. But we did have a little chat, and we talked about her information. Now, I want you to know who Stephanie Wallcraft is. It's very important that you know her because she is the best of the best. So Stephanie Wallcraft, she is here's her little bio on Twitter, multiple award-winning automotive motorsport and road travel writer. She is the president of the Automotive Journalists Association of Canada. She is literally the best of the best. She's an award-winning journalist. She's written articles such as this one right here, which I happen to be in. This is the pictures actually from when I went down to LA to do a live video or YouTube videos for Kia USA when they launched the Stinger. That's what the picture's from. But the article talks about, as you can see, our YouTube videos. So we're kind of coming full circle here. She's written about us. Now I'm going to talk about her, and it's really not about her. I want you to know that she is awesome. She's the best of the best, and I'll mean that again and again and again. Her biography's in here. You can read it on her own personal website. Best way to reach her is probably through Twitter. She's active there. Real quickly, I told her I would mention this. She's very active in motorsports. She's spending a lot of time tweeting recently about the NASCAR stuff with the Black Lives Matter. Being the president of the Automotive Journalists Association of Canada, she looked at their membership, and if you are a black automotive journalist or an aspiring black automotive journalist, you can reach out to her. She will help you become an automotive journalist, become a member of Automotive Journalists Association of Canada. She's willing to talk to you. They were looking for some diversity there. She's a quality person. She is the best of the best in the automotive journalists in Canada. And that's why I'm pointing that out, because I want you to know that her and I talked about this article. I told her I was going to call it fake news, jokingly, of course. And she's like, listen, the research is good, the math is good. She's had it triple checked. So we're going to talk about what's in this article. Of course, anytime you say electric vehicle in the newspaper, you have to put a Tesla up. It's what's required. That being said, the very first comparison she does is the Kia Niro EV. So she compares it to a gas car, she runs through the numbers, yada, yada, yada. We're gonna talk about what that means. I can assure you her math is correct. She has told me she's triple checked it. There's nobody, I believe, better than her when it comes to automotive journalism. She does her homework, it's all good. So we're gonna talk about this article. I'm going to disagree with her, and I'm gonna show you why. So she's got data. I will put in the description of this video when I'm done. I will put in the description or the link to this article so you can find it. Now, real quick, I'm hoping to earn your likes. If Stephanie Wallcraft has not earned your like yet, do me a favor, hit like on this video for her work. She is the best of the best. She's doing good things with inclusiveness in the Automotive Journalists Association of Canada, and she just does good work. So if you can hit like on this video, even just for her, that's great. If at any point I say something that you like, or you like that we're doing these videos, do me a favor, hit like on the video as well. I'm trying to earn your likes, and I'm also trying to earn your subscription. And we want to do that by being thorough, being accurate, being good at what we do. So it's very dangerous for me to take on someone who has written about me in the past and tell her that maybe she's wrong. I don't think her math is wrong. So how can you be wrong if all the numbers are correct? Well, let's just take a look at what she's done. Now, there are two comparisons in this article. The first one is the Kia Niro versus the Nissan Qashqai. So there's two popular crossovers, Kia Niro EV, that should say. So Kia Niro EV versus the Qashqai. So that's her comparison. She runs through her methodology. She runs through why she chose the vehicle she chose. Just so you know, she chose the most expensive SX Touring Kia EV. That's the way most of ours are sold from this dealership. We are a leader in EVs, so I think that's the right choice. That is a leading EV. As you can see, she chose a Nissan Qashqai. She could have chosen the Nissan Leaf versus Nissan Qashqai. But yeah, she chose our EV. I think there's good reason to choose our EV. And when you're talking about a car that's $54,995 is what she says is MSRP, I think that's basically the same as what we have. Yeah, $54,495. So we're right in the same ballpark for MSRP. Her numbers are good. And she compares that to the Nissan Qashqai, which is a MSRP of $34,133. So we talked about, or she says in the article why she chose some of these things and why that matters. Now, first of all, if you're going to, and let me just get to the point here. The point of the matter is, over 10 years, so this includes financing and other things, you can look at her methodology, it's excellent. Over 10 years, she says that the EV is, grand total please, $833.72 less over 10 years. So here's where I'm gonna start arguing with her. I don't think her math is wrong. I think she's bang on. But I think her methodology is wrong because if you're comparing, let's say, a Kia Niro EV, well, first of all, if you're comparing for cost of ownership, why not compare the little bit less expensive version of our EV, which has the same basic things? You could have looked at the Kia Soul. Kia Soul is going to be a little bit less expensive than the Niro she used. But let's just say, okay, fine. But if you're going to look at an apples to apples comparison, which, let's be very honest, a Kia Soul or Kia Niro EV is not an apples to apples comparison with a Nissan Qashqai. If I was to look for an apples-to-apples comparison for an EV, and let's say I wanted to use Kias because Kias are leaders in the EV space, I wonder which vehicle I would use to compare. Now, to be fair, she did mention to me that there was some pressure maybe from the editors to include multiple car makers, but still, she chose not to use the most obvious apples-to-apples comparison. Here is a Kia Soul EV. There is the gasoline model of the same car. So when she came out with her $833 difference, she compared a $34,000 car to an EV, which is $54,000. So here's the problem that I have with that. It's not an apples-to-apples comparison. It's very easy to say that my Ferrari costs less than your Ferrari when my Ferrari is a dinky car. They're not the same cars. So if you wanted to, for instance, compare to a Nissan Qashqai, why not just use the Kia Seltos? Now, I know what you're thinking. See, she chose the Qashqai. It's got all-wheel drive. Of course, our EVs don't have all-wheel drive. But we have a direct competitor to the Qashqai right here. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. You're thinking the Nissan Qashqai is a bigger vehicle than the Kia Seltos. That's true. The Qashqai is 1 centimeter longer. But one I pulled in here costs less. So let's start looking at costs. If the electric vehicle at $54,000 costs less than the $34,000 Nissan, first of all, win for Kia. A $54,000 Kia costs less than a $34,000 Nissan, or $36,000. But let's just compare costs for a real quick second here. Here is the Qashqai, $34,000 or so. That has a 7-inch display screen, those kinds of things. I mean, I understand why they chose this to compare with the Niro EV, mid-level SUV, or high-level, trim line of that SUV. Let's just compare that for a second to what we've got in the same price range. So $34,000. This is a competitive car. They both have LED lights. You can see this one has 10.25-inch screen on our Seltos. It's like $4,000 cheaper for a Seltos. You get basically the same mileage. You have more trunk space. You have within a centimeter of overall length. The point is, this is $4,000 cheaper than this Qashqai that she used to compare. So my issue with the overall methodology is when you say that this EV costs less than a Nissan Qashqai by $833 over 10 years, well, that one already is $4,000 less. And okay, are we back? There we go, we're back. So we're already kind of falling apart with the electric vehicles cheaper than the gas vehicle, because if you stay within our own dealership and go with a Nissan Qashqai competitor, you're already $4,000 cheaper for our competitor. For the Nissan Nissan Qashqai, we've got a Seltos, which again, almost the same exact mileage, almost the same exact length. You've got actually more cargo space, more other things, bigger screen, same safety features, maybe more in the Seltos. And let's talk real quick about powertrains. Because an electric powertrain, if you're buying a car for efficiency, that's great. The EVs are great for efficiency, but some people also buy them because they're fun to drive. So you've got 291 foot-pounds of torque in here. A Qashqai doesn't have anywhere near that. Well, this car, again, doesn't have near that kind of torque, and it's got less horsepower, but you can get the same horsepower in that vehicle as you can in an EV. EV comes with 201 horsepower. The Seltos can be available with 201 horsepower. So that vehicle with 201 horsepower is still $2,000 less than the Qashqai they used to compare with. And keep in mind, after 10 years, they still say the EV is cheaper by $833. Well, you can save all of that money up front and then just invest the difference and come out way ahead. So I'm still going to argue that when you go apples to apples, which would be soul to soul, you're going to be cheaper to buy a gas car today. Now, I agree with their math, and she tells me that the Ministry of Natural Resources also says that an EV will be cheaper over time. Sure, it just depends on what we're talking about if we go apples to apples. And again, I'm an EV owner. I want this to be true. So real quick, let's take a look at how it falls with the Soul. Now, the Soul I have inside right now is this one right here, EX Premium. It happens to be the GT line, I believe, but it doesn't matter. $26,995 for the same equipment. It will be a little bit different. GT line Premium, $27,595 with some of the details we have. Again, they're comparing, their apples to apples comparison is a $34,000 Nissan instead of a $27,595 car. Now, if you want to go fully loaded, as big as you can on the Soul, you're still under $30,000. You're basically $4,000 to $5,000 cheaper when we really go apples to apples, which is Kia Soul EV to Kia Soul gasoline engine. So right away, if you come out $800 ahead over 10 years, you're not comparing apples to apples, and that is why I said on the record that it's still not quite ready to buy an EV or a gasoline won't always be, an EV is not cheaper than gasoline. There are people out there who will do things, a lot of driving, it can make some difference. There's all kinds of things. We're not even talking about resale value, which an EV with, let's call it 385 kilometers of range for the Niro 383, including this one. This one's actually our low range model I have here, 248. We're gonna talk about why that car might be cheaper. This is where I might agree. Anyways, all of those things, we don't know about resale value on some of these things in 10 years, because if electric technology really takes off, what happens if in 10 years, the average range is 600 kilometers of EV range, and you can charge that in 15 minutes? That's possible in 10 years, and that will probably hurt the resale value of an EV. Having said that, I still bought an EV today. I bought this EV. Mine happens to be gray, but it's the same one. So there's 100 reasons to buy an EV. I don't think the reason to buy one is because it'll be cheaper than a gasoline car when you go apples to apples. Now, what's interesting is a lot of people aren't going apples to apples. I have never, ever heard of someone cross-shopping the Kia Soul EV or the Kia Niro EV with the Nissan Qashqai. I have heard them cross-shop it with a Tesla. I've heard them cross-shop it with other luxury vehicles. We've had them cross-shop for all kinds of things. And where Kia dealers fall short, when we started becoming a leader in EVs, other Kia dealers would try to move somebody from an electric Soul to a gasoline Soul. And we sold more cars like that early on because the salesperson thinks that a gasoline Soul and a EV are basically the same car. They're very, very, very different. So again, Erin is a buyer of ours. She compared the Model 3 with the Niro when she was looking. So again, different type of thing. Nobody is comparing this car with a Qashqai in real life. And just because this car in its top trim may work out over 10 years to be cheaper than a Nissan Qashqai, that's great, but it's not an apples to apples comparison. And therefore, no matter how good the math is, if you start with the wrong variables, you'll end up with the wrong answer. And as a dealer, we got to be careful. One of the things we do is we coach people into why they should buy a certain car. I had someone reach out to me on Instagram today and tell me this is the reason they want to move to an EV is because they want it to be cheaper than a gasoline vehicle. Now, can we make that happen? So we're about halfway through this video, 15 and a half minutes or so. Here's the thing. I think an EV can be cheaper than a gas vehicle, even when you go apples to apples comparison. So the difference you're going to have to make today is you may have to sacrifice some of that range. This vehicle, as I mentioned, is not the top of the line Niro EV. The Niro EV about $54,000, the Soul EV a few $1,000s less. This one is the lower range Soul EV. This one has 248 kilometers of range. And in this case, I think you have a much stronger case to say that it is equal to or cheaper than a gasoline vehicle over time, using the same math that they already use. But you may have to sacrifice some range. So let's just really quickly look at that and help you answer this question as well. I will get to some of your questions. Feel free to keep asking them. I'm just going to go through a bit of my presentation here. All right. So what we're talking about is, keep in mind the Niro EV that is cheaper than a Qashqai after 10 years starts at $54,495. Now that includes the government discount, if I remember the article correctly, about $5,000 off of these cars, so that does bring it down. But this car here, $54,595, this car right here, you also get a $5,000 discount on. So now your $42,595 gets less than that with that government discount. And now you start dealing in the same similar price range as a Qashqai right out of the bat. Now, Stephanie mentioned that she wanted things like heated steering wheel, those kinds of things. These cars all have heated steering wheels, even the base model Kia Soul. It was one of the reasons she wanted to move up to the top line Niro EV. Well, this one, the Soul EV, with a little bit less range, has a heated steering wheel. It has heated seats, of course. It's got a 10.25-inch screen. Every vehicle in the showroom today, or in our video bay, has this 10.25-inch screen as well. Well, this car I'll just start up because it is an EV. So there's your 10.25-inch screen. The Qashqai only has a 7-inch screen. None of the cars in the showroom today, or in our video bay today, are available with a 7-inch screen. They come with a minimum of an 8-inch screen. So again, better value overall. You have a display screen in the center of your dash here, and in fact, every vehicle here has a display screen in the center of the dash as well. Technology-wise, in an EV, you can get everything in that same if you want to go all-wheel drive like they did in the article, in the Seltos, and again, you're going to save money. So we'll talk about that. But this car at $42,595 really does the math a little bit better if you can handle having a little bit less range. And for my family, I did. Now, the other thing you can do with some of these cars is you don't have to buy the Stage 2 charger. For something with a little bit lower range, if you're doing a little bit smaller trips, I've gotten by with a level 1 charger, no extra expense for the level 2 charger, which they factor into the cost, and now you're saving more money again. So here we go. We're going to talk about this a little further. Hold on a second here. So what do you get in an EV and a gas car? I think that matters because in an EV, when you buy one from Kia, you get all of our safety features. Smart cruise control, you get the automatic climate control, you get blind spot detection with avoidance, rear cross traffic alert with avoidance. You get all of those safety features. If you buy an EV purely for efficiency, purely for the dollar number, you could sit there and buy a Kia Rio or a Kia Forte and save yourself a significant amount of money over 10 years. If you just want efficiency, if the dollar is the only thing that matters. But people don't buy EVs for dollar reasons alone. Because if they did, we would never ever sell one. We would sell a ton of Kia Rios because a Kia Rio is a less expensive car and is still a modern car, a brand new car. Here's the thing. What automotive journalists forget, people buy EVs for the exact same reason that people buy muscle cars. Why do you buy a Mustang GT and not the Mustang 4-cylinder? Why do you buy the 707 horsepower Hellcat Chrysler instead of just the regular Chrysler? Because you like the way it drives. And what blows people away is the value comparison of cars is not why people are buying EVs today. One day that will be it. It's just not there yet. People buy these cars because they like the way they drive. They are fun to drive. They have lots of torque. They like not having to go to the gas station. I bought mine because my wife does a lot of short trips. I don't want to have to do oil changes all the time and do all the maintenance that goes along with maintaining a car doing short trips. EVs are great for short trips. They're also fine for long trips. My parents bought their EV. It was a Nero EV. And they sold their gas car. They're down to one EV only. They go regularly on long trips. My dad has been to Michigan and back on a single charge from Brantford with 60 kilometers to spare. They go to Florida and back and quick charge their whole way down. So there are ways you can use those cars, but they buy it not because of the value proposition, not because of the dollar amount. They buy them because they like the cars. They like the features. They like the way they drive. For me, if I was looking at a vehicle like this is my exact vehicle. It is cloth seats. I liked the technology. I liked that big screen. I liked some of the technology in this car. A Kia Sportage has some of that technology. It does gain all-wheel drive. If you want all-wheel drive, you do gain that. But for me, I was willing to sacrifice all-wheel drive and get an electric powertrain. It had nothing to do with the dollar amount. And if it did, I could have told my wife, hey, this is going to be cheaper long-term. My particular car might be cheaper long-term because we're right in that high $30,000 mark when you get that government discount. And a lot of these SUVs are in that $30,000 mark. The problem I have with comparing a Qashqai is you didn't choose the right vehicle. The Qashqai is a more expensive vehicle in the same class as this. Both have 2-liter engines. Both have IVT or CVT transmissions. This one has more trunk space, a little bit more front headroom, a little bit more rear legroom. Yes, it is 1 centimeter smaller. I don't think that's going to sway the sales one way or another. This is a very good car for us, and the value within Kia doesn't end with their EVs. The reason Kia's EV is cheaper over 10 years than a Nissan Qashqai is because there's really good value in Kia's EVs, especially when you compare it to something like a Tesla. Same thing continues for the rest of our lineup. There is tremendous value in the Kia lineup, in our small crossovers, in our vehicles like the gasoline Kia Soul, LED headlights on all of these cars. You get that, so standard type stuff all on these cars. There we go. So I'm going to jump over to your questions now. I'm sure you have some. If you haven't asked them yet, feel free to ask them. But I do think if you want an EV, you should buy one. I can talk about why I bought mine. I can talk about why our customers buy theirs. It is not happening yet because of the overall dollar figure. There is a savings. It does not cost the same as a car of equal price in gas, but it does not cost significantly less in my mind when you do an apples to apples comparison. Now, if you're comparing a Mercedes to a EV at the same price range, yeah, you're right away ahead in the EV. All right, let me jump to your questions. Where are we here? Why did you choose the Nero? More feet? Okay, so you guys are talking amongst each other. Only thing you're looking for is cost, depends on average mileage. Yep, so Eric Jenkins, he owns an EV as well and a Tesla. There we go. Daily commute's 84 kilometers. This is the question. Okay, so it sounds like a lot of you want this video. All right, so it sounds like I've answered all your questions. And let me jump into why you buy an EV if it's not for value. Because again, a Kia Rio is going to be less expensive way. Certainly compared Kias to other manufacturers, you can see a value answer there. That's what Kia is known for, is tremendous value, tremendous safety features, tremendous technology, great styling. Of course, we're going to be cheaper in some ways overall, and that's the value. That's why we sell so many cars. That's why Kia is growing and Nissan has been shrinking. Anyways, so what we're going to talk about real quick as we finish this video up, we got another 6 minutes till the half-an-hour mark, and that's what I like to sort of keep them at unless it decides to go longer. I want to point out that Stephanie's math was excellent. That's not my issue with it. My issue is what we see real people comparing the cars to. Oh, sorry, no Tesla for Eric. I said the wrong thing. Real people walk in wanting an EV. They don't even give the gasoline Soul a second look. And that's what's interesting. So why would you not, if you're considering this car, consider that car for, several tens of thousands of dollars less? The reality is people are buying EVs because they want EVs. if you want to buy it as a value proposition, that will come. The prices are coming down. You're getting more range, you're getting more features, you're getting more things. But what I know from a dealership experience is almost nobody, and I mean, I have not met a single person yet that has cross-shopped this car with that car. There is an alternative, and we just did a video on it the other day. If you can't afford the entry price of an EV, but you still want something that's very fuel efficient, maybe Qashqai-like, you can go with something else in the Niro line or in the Kia lineup with the Kia Niro. The Kia Niro comes in an EV. It also comes in a plug-in hybrid vehicle, which gives you that real sort of mid-level price point. And you can have a full hybrid. We just had the hybrid in here the other day. It is a fantastic car. It starts at about 26,800, and you get basically double the mileage of a Qashqai, give or take, around the real world, double the mileage of a Qashqai. If you want to go full EV, you start eliminating a lot of those things like oil changes and other types of maintenance. So when the articles come out like this, I always love when they come out because I want, for my own personal reasons, I want this car to be less expensive than a gas car. One, because it's great as a dealer when we sell higher, more expensive priced cars. That's good for us initially. But the flip side is the EV market, you're talking to the regular market that is not really looking at EVs, and it kind of confuses the issue. You're not saving this car versus that car yet. So my issue is, that's the thing. You can't just say that this car is cheaper than the equivalent in a gas car, because it's not. It is cheaper than a non-equivalent, but that kind of changes the point. All right, does anybody want to see something in these cars? If there's something you want to see EV, otherwise, I will point out again, all of these cars are very similarly equipped. If this is the gasoline right here, you'll see that 10 1/4 inch screen. This one happens to have a flat bottom steering wheel, just the GT line package. You do have a display in the center as well of your steering wheel. There's the gear shift area. We'll jump in over here. The real change in the Soul EV, same 10 1/4 inch screen, a little bit bigger screen in this particular model in the center there, nice color display screen. You have a different style gear shift. That's how you can tell right off the bat that this is an EV. But again, very, very similar, same seats, same thing. You do have a little bit less floor space. The battery is mounted underneath this car, which means the floor is slightly higher, especially in the rear seat. You kind of feel that if you're a Kia nerd like me. If you want to see this car here, again, this Qashqai competitor that will be cheaper than an EV, or it has to be cheaper than an EV based on the math. Same thing, 10 1/4 inch screen, some little different software there, gear shift area there. And again, all the safety features, lane keep assist, lane follow assist, all of those. Roof racks on this car, no roof racks on the EV. The Soul doesn't have roof racks unless you get the GT line, which happens to be the one that I pulled in here. So utility that way. All right, you guys are talking amongst yourselves. Is there anything I can answer for any of you about this article, about anything else? There we go. How much do they run up your electric bill? Okay, so that's a really, really good question. Let me show you real quickly how to figure that out for yourself, and then I'll talk about my own personal experience. So here we go. We're going to go to Kia Canada's website, so kia.ca. We're going to go to vehicles right here. We're going to go to hybrid electric. Basically, there's a green vehicles page. There's your green vehicles page. We're going to scroll down. Here is a calculator right here. No matter where you live in the country, you put in your kilometers, you put in how much gas is, you put in your current vehicle's mileage or whatever vehicle you want to compare it to, and then electricity price. And you can click that little question mark if the electricity price doesn't make sense for you. And you can start comparing these EV models to your gas model. The short answer is that's going to be a better comparison than I can have. What I can tell you, though, is I happen to have a pickup truck in my house. That's one of the vehicles I use. It's about $80 or $90 to fill that thing up, and it goes about 500 kilometers. 500 kilometers in my car is probably $6, maybe $7, in and around that area. So fuel costs, absolutely. But again, I'm comparing to a pickup truck. What if you're comparing it to a hybrid car? What if you're comparing it to something like that Kia Rio that also gets very good mileage and costs a lot less? So electricity use does go up. Yeah, there's no question. Is it $20 a month? It depends on how much you drive. But whatever it goes up is significantly less than what you would have saved in fuel use. So it doesn't bother me at all if my electricity bill goes up, because all of that is gasoline savings, which is not only good for the environment, especially in our area here, but it's also something that pocketbook-wise makes a ton of sense. Once you get over the purchase price of the vehicle, yeah, operating costs, they're way less on an EV. So, but that calculator from Kia is actually a really good spot to go to. You can compare your current car, you can compare any EV, just put in your, or any of our EVs, and just put in your information there. So that's a great question. Let me just show you that again. That's what I would do, is put in your kilometers, everything else, and you can see exactly, you can go kilometers per month, per year, whatever you want, and you can see the cost. So let's just do this. Let's choose whatever it's done compared to a Soul EV. So this is 7.4 liters per 100 kilometers. We'll hit calculate, and there you go. So cost per 100 kilometers on the Soul EV is about $250-ish. What does it say? Does it tell me exactly? I think if I highlight it, it'll tell me. There you go, $251 for the Soul EV. 7.4 liters per 100 kilometers would be, what do we, $7.40. So there's an example. Even an efficient car, you're less than half, and go from there. Most likely Seltos EV next. You guys are talking about that. I can tell you the Seltos is not planned to be an EV unless it has the redesign. So there we go. Let me just take your questions one more time. We're at the 30-minute mark. I won't keep you any longer than I need to. Let me just jump in and see if I missed anything. Okay. No oil and oil filter change. Yep, there's a lot of savings in maintenance in the vehicle. One thing I do encourage EV owners to do, which is the same as gasoline buyers, do your brake services. Brakes, of course, are used much less on an EV. They can last for a very, very, very long time, but you want to make sure nothing seizes up in the bare metal there. We tell our gas customers to do the same thing. Probably a little bit more important on the EV just because keeping these brakes around are going to last a lot longer. I can't say with a Kia uniform on how long they'll last, but let's say I took my uniform off. Those could probably go 200,000 kilometers, I would think, whereas you're not going to see that in a gas car. So you could do a lot more brakes. Brakes? I didn't know I had brakes, exactly. So we are going to encourage you to service your brakes once a year. Use winter tires on an EV. The tires are fine. They're good tires, but they are energy efficient tires, and we prefer in our climate to put winter tires on, especially because you've got 291 foot-pounds of torque all the way through, like instant torque at the front wheels. That's a lot of torque to put on those wheels, and having those winter tires helps with some traction. All right, I think we're gonna leave it at that. Again, this was one of my most fun videos I've had to do because there's an article out there that says they're cheaper, and I want them to be cheaper. I want Stephanie to be right. I want her research to be valid, and it is good research. The math is there. And for a lot of EV buyers, the cars that they're comparing the EV to, if you were comparing an EV to a Nissan Qashqai, which most people aren't, but if you were, then there you go. It's already cheaper. A lot of people used to say, okay, I'm going to spend $50,000 on an EV and $50,000 on another luxury car, and in that case, yes, the EV will cost less. But people don't buy EVs to save money yet. That's not the real buyers. Those are regular buyers who will one day buy them. If you were looking to buy an EV to save money, definitely look at this one. Makes a lot of sense. It's the 248 kilometer range. I drive it every day. I'm getting real world 300 kilometers right now. That matters as well. So I think that's sort of the total wrap. You can definitely save money driving an EV. It just depends on what you're comparing that vehicle to. So I want to thank everybody for jumping in and joining us today. I will put the link to Stephanie's article down there and down on the link to this after the video is done. If you haven't given me a like yet, if I haven't earned your like, do me a favor, hit that like button if I have earned it. Also, if I've earned your subscription, feel free to do that. We're going to do a lot more EV stuff. We're going to do a lot of other stuff. We've got a Kia Niro PHEV. That's a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle coming in. Those aren't usually stocked by a lot of Kia dealers outside of Quebec. We're going to have it in our video bay in the next little while, so if that's not a reason to subscribe, I don't know what is. I want to thank everybody for watching. We will talk to you again tomorrow at 2 o'clock.